the tornadoes destroyed last year.
Wow.
In fact, I was 30 minutes away from being right in the middle of that with another priest. We were right in the middle of Moore, my hometown, but we had left and got away just before the tornadoes hit last year in May. So my hometown is still there, and I love my hometown, and I go back there frequently to see people and do things there. And my parents are buried there, and so I was just there yesterday, Memorial Day, to decorate their graves. So I still have a great love for Moore, Oklahoma, and great proud alumni of Moore High School. And my great nephew just graduated from Moore High School last Saturday, so he's the last of our family to go through and matriculate through Moore High School. So it goes back from my sister through him. So yeah, my family has been in Oklahoma since before what we call the land run of '89, when the Oklahoma territories were opened to white settlement in '89. So my family's been in Oklahoma since before the land run of '89.
So they snuck in.
There's to my great grandfather on my mother's side had a trading post in southeast Oklahoma, what was called Boggy Depot, and so they were there. He had a trading post there that was in the Indian Territories. And so I have a great uncle whose birth certificate says that he was born Indian Territory, Atoka County, Oklahoma.
That's amazing.
Yeah, it is amazing. So I'm very proud of my heritage of being a native Okie, we would say. So,
I was wondering if that particular heritage of this wilderness man family, I mean, did that also help shape this eclectic, almost non-religious background that you're talking?
It probably did. And for the most part, Oklahoma was it's still a very small Catholic populace. We're only about 4.5% of the state's populace, but we're a very vocal 4.5%. So, and Catholicism it took a while to take root there, but it also came from being, as much of America is, a very harsh to the Roman mindset. My parents in the 1960s were vehemently against John Kennedy because the Pope would run our country, so those mindsets. And they were very influenced with the criticisms of the church. When I studied church history, I found that we studied that book of The Awful Disclosures of Maria Monk. That was the woman supposedly escaped from the convents in the 1860s, the time of Abraham Lincoln. And the horror stories she supposedly said were true, which later were found to be totally fictitious. But my mother would tell us those stories that she had heard as a child. They came from that book, and I remember her telling us those things. We have a Benedictine Abbey in Oklahoma that's in Shawnee, Oklahoma, which is now only 20 miles from where I live. And the abbot of the monastery is the president of the board of directors for the shrine, and so we have a close connection to the abbey. And my grandparents once lived in Shawnee, and in fact they're buried there as long as two infant children and my brother. And so again, I was there just yesterday to decorate those graves. And as we would drive by the abbey as a child, my mother would say, "See that place? See that place? That's where that's where priests impregnate nuns, and they smash the babies' heads against walls and bury them in cemeteries." So there's all this very anti-Catholic mindset, and it was all out of ignorance and bad stuff that they've been taught as children. So it was.
But that fed you as a young.
Oh, fed me very, very much as a young man. Yes, absolutely. But I was born in a Catholic hospital run by the Sisters of St. Francis, and I was apparently a sickly child. There was some kind of gastrointestinal problem. I couldn't hold anything in my stomach, and my mother told me as a child, when I was in this hospital, in a very sickly condition, that she woke up one morning in the middle of the night, early morning, and she found the superior of the community rocking me in a rocking chair. And the sister stood up, handed me back to my mother, reached in her pocket and handed my mother a miraculous medal and said, "He's going to be fine." And she left the room. And immediately I started recovering. And I think that was the beginning of that process that would lead me towards the church.
Did your mother ever tell you how she felt about receiving that little...
Well, she actually said it was a good thing because she kept that medal, and she gave it to me when I was 18.
Wow.
When I was 18, as I found my way towards Anglicanism, she gave me that medal.
Okay.
And I kept it on a necklace for a long time. Then it broke off at some point, and I lost it, which saddened me very deeply because I'd lost that medal that she
had
kept
kept
so long.
that.
She kept it in her jewelry box.
Wow.
She kept it in her jewelry box. And strangely enough, if I could skip ahead just a minute, when I entered the seminary for college seminary, I went to Northwest Missouri to Conception Abbey Conception Seminary College, which was originally titled Immaculate Conception. And 20 miles away was the mother house of the nuns who ran the hospital where I was born. So I saw that as divine providence. It was not coincidence, it was divine providence. And as I've looked back, every step I've taken in my priesthood in some capacity towards formation in priesthood, the Immaculate Conception has entered every step of the way. And so it was all divine providence. I think that nun made a deal with God. You know, you say this, Lord, you say the child, Lord, and you can make a priest out of him. Because I do remember very early as a child, and certainly by 14, wanting to be a priest.